Hello, everyone. I'm Vixen Valentine, Director of Media for BurlyCon, and I am here with Bebe Bardeaux. And Bebe, I hear we have a very special announcement to tell all of the BurlyCon community of the world.
Yes, we do. The big news is that I'm on the board. Woo, woo, woo.
Woo!
Party time, party time. Yes, yes, yes. Big celebration.
Wow. Yay! That is so exciting. There's been so much changes to the board, and it's been so exciting to see the people who are coming on, the people who are moving on. So I'm very excited you're sitting down to chat with me a little bit about you and your experience with BurlyCon, like up to right now with this huge sort of like change coming for you. So what was the first year you ever attended BurlyCon?
The first year I went to BurlyCon was actually in 2019,
Mhm.
and it was amazing. It was a whirlwind because I was coming from DC, and it's a very, very long flight, so I didn't know what to expect. I have a kid at home, a life back home, like very many other burlesque performers and people involved in the burlesque community. So I was nervous about, leaving my son at home for a little bit longer because it's a longer flight. So I was nervous. But once I got there, it was like being surrounded by family. And I know that we throw that word community around a lot in burlesque, and it's kind of a controversial word. But at BurlyCon, it really did feel like I was walking up to people that I knew. It felt like it was a reunion of sorts. I got to see everybody in a more sort of like pared down kind of way. It wasn't like
Mhm.
everybody was performing, everybody was there to learn. So it felt more collegiate, whatever, it felt there was like a camaraderie there that I really liked. And all of my concerns just sort of went out the window. And I just started concentrating on getting to know people and learning more about burlesque.
Awesome. And before being on the board, you have taught at BurlyCon.
Yes,
And
that was a part of the nervousness because I actually had to teach right when I got off the plane, actually.
and what was the first class you ever taught?
That class was my shake dance history class, which is the first class I ever taught, period, as well. And the good thing about it is that I had written so much about it at that point that it felt kind of natural to be teaching it. So thankfully, the nervousness, I was allowed to sort of just be a first year BurlyCon student.
Mhm.
And honestly, the class felt really natural. It just felt like since it was a subject that I'm so passionate about and something that I cared so deeply about, I was able to just sort of go into it. And the history part was amazing. I thought that people would not respond to the history part because you think, okay, burlesque is all about the cha cha cha, the bumps and the grinds. So I thought, will people even be interested in me sort of talking
Mhm.
about something rather than dancing? And to my surprise, it was amazing, the response. People really, really like to learn about burlesque history. And I think this is just a hypothesis, but I think it widens our community because I think there's a smaller number of people who would actually perform burlesque, but a greater number of people that would like to learn about it and just read
Mhm.
about it and be a part of it in some kind of way. I think the brave ones are the ones who go up and shake their tassels in a G-string or less.
Mhm.
But so I think BurlyCon and the whole educational aspect actually
Mhm.
widens our community. It's really, really good for us.
Well, as speaking about performing and your work, you are pretty well known, burlesque historian, having written on it, taught about it, all of those things. So, just curious, how does your research inform you as a performer when you get on stage?
I think that's a really great question because for me, the performance part came first. I'm a librarian in my daily regular life. And so I'm a law librarian, though. So it's a little bit different because I work with treatises and legal texts and cases and statutes and administrative regulations and things like that. So it's kind of a drier type of research that I do in my work life. So it has sort of informed the way I approach any problem, though, or any new hobby. And for me at the time, burlesque was just a hobby as a new performer. So I thought, I think like any good librarian would, let's look at the history of it. Let's research it the same way I would research a legal problem, or the same way I would, answer any type of like patron request. You have to sort of dig deep and figure out what is the goal and what's the message. And I knew that burlesque had a long history. So the first thing I did was just hopped online. I thought, okay, I'm not the first girl or the first person to do this. So let's see what it looks like before me. And it started locally, just looking at how the burlesque performers in Washington, D.C. and Richmond, Virginia, mainly, and Baltimore, Maryland, just looking at who they were and the first 10 years of what it meant to be a performer. That kind of informed who I was as a newbie, because I had kittened for them, stage kittened for them, and I thought local history was important. Then once I became a performer myself, I thought, okay, what kind of performer am I? And I needed to find other people who look like me. And unfortunately, it's very, very difficult to find other people who look like me in burlesque. First of all, I don't identify as a plus size performer or a fat performer. But first of all, I know that there's a body diversity issue in burlesque. So it was hard enough to find somebody who was short. Okay, that's one place to start. And that was difficult. Then I thought, let's find Black people. That was difficult. And those difficulties led me to dig deeper and deeper. Okay, if it's hard for me to find, short, dark-skinned girls who look like me on stage, then where do I go? And that pushed me to, number one, perform myself. If it was that hard for me to find it, then maybe I should do it so that I could show other people who look like me that they could do it. And then it just pushed me to want to find other sort of marginalized images of burlesque. I had fallen in love with the Betty Pages and the Tempest Storms already, like everybody else. Everybody knows those names. But I wanted to find marginalized images of burlesque. I wanted to find dark-skinned performers. I wanted to find fat performers. I wanted to find trans performers. I wanted to find, and that's what led me to shake dance, because I found out that there was this part of burlesque that you were relegated to if you were dark skinned, or if you were fat, or if you were trans. They call you a shake dancer. Carlotta was a trans shake dancer. Big Linda was a fat shake dancer. There were even Asian American shake dancers. Sometimes we all just got lumped as exotics. There were many names for the others in burlesque, but I had felt othered starting in 2017. And it was just kind of crazy to me that I had always been an other throughout the whole history of burlesque and vaudeville. And that literally cracked the egg wide open. And it's a big part of my research now, is researching shake dance history, shake dancers. Where does the term come from? What does it look like? What does it mean? And clarifying it for a modern audience. Is that like, I'm sorry, I could talk.
That was amazing. I'm just like, that is,
I hope it makes sense though. Oh, well, and then you know what? A simple answer, just like a really like hot take answer, is that I just want to know what to do on stage. So I look at old videos. That's how it started. It's like, what is a burlesque dance? What does a burlesque dancer even do? And thankfully we've got YouTube and Vimeo. And so, that's really, I love looking at Jenny Lee. God, I can watch Jenny Lee tassel twirl all day. And thank God for the internet, because it's cool that I can say that as a 2021 fan, somebody who performed like way back. So,
yeah. So you've got all of this like great understanding of history. You've been a performer, you have awards under your belt, like you're accomplished in your own right. And now you're on the BurlyBoard with all of this sort of like huge, amazing background. Is there anything that you want to start combining or bringing to the board, or is there what is sort of that like moving forward into this role energy with all of this wonderfulness supporting you and in your what you do?
Oh, that's a big question. I think because I look up to so many people who are on the board, I
Hmm.
think for me, it's like there's everything already there, right? It's like, what, that's a big question. Like, what can I
Yeah.
add to this, like, already like sizzling, like gumbo pot of amazingness? And it's like a very difficult question because I think it's all represented there. But I think like maybe the value that I could bring um is just the history,
Hmm.
the fact that like sometimes I just have so many endless nights, hours and hours, and I'm sure everybody on the board does as well. The endless hours of research, but I think the difference that I have is probably just my mogul career, the fact that
Hmm.
I have access to resources and techniques and things like that that I've actually like studied really, really hard to learn.
Hmm.
Library school is very difficult. I don't know why they minimize that. I don't know if that's because it's a traditionally femme, like a stereotypically femme occupation, that they really minimize the level of like work that goes into being a librarian.
Hmm.
So I think I can bring sort of like that librarian vibe to the board. Just someone who's like always there to research if that's ever needed, because I love to do that. And I know that it's time consuming. And I know a lot of people don't like to research, they like to learn.
Hmm.
But they like to see it packaged already. And unfortunately in burlesque, we don't have a lot of prepackaged sort of historical knowledge just floating about. We've got tons of pictures, videos, but nothing sort of like in a pretty beautiful package. And I love that BurlyCon is educational. And so we can try to figure out a way to like present this knowledge. And I'd love, love, love to help curate the library if I can. I would love to help out with the library as much as I can.
Wonderful. And so, and this year's been, BurlyCon has gone virtual this whole year, and we've had Burly Pods. So you've been able to enjoy all of the BurlyCon, yumminess right from the comfort of your
Yes.
home.
Yes.
Uh, for Burly Pods, have you had a favorite moment in Burly Pod, or is there something that you've really enjoyed as we've kind of navigated the digital world with BurlyCon?
I think the thing that I've appreciated the most is that it's on demand, because whether you can go there live or not depends on many things. Like, I think
Mhm.
everybody has Zoom fatigue, people have lives, people have kids at home. So even if you can't make it for that particular session, you could always rewatch it, because I believe it's available for a time, right? For a time
Mhm.
period after it first goes live. And that kind of goes back to your first question as well, because as somebody who was a new mom, I was very nervous about traveling away from my son to go to
Mhm.
BurlyCon. So this way, people who have like sort of economic limitations or life limitations, it doesn't matter. They could still sort of, get it on their
Yeah.
laptop, get it on their phone, and they can watch it whenever they have the time from the comfort of their own home without having to spend money on a plane ticket, or,
Mhm.
it's really, really engaging in that way. So I really appreciated it. And my favorite class, if I could just give a shout out, not to like show favorites or anything, but I'm all about the shake dance. I'm all about the history. And we are just so lucky to be living in the time of Zelia Rose. And Zelia Rose's class was amazing. I don't know if Zelia considers herself a shake dancer, but it is certainly infused in all her moves. She's got like the footwork down. So I
Mhm.
really appreciated Zelia Rose's class. I thought it was just spectacular. She's like one of my favorite performers. So I could rave about her. So the fact that you could connect with your favorite performers that, I've never gotten to see her live before, but I
Mhm.
got to sort of participate in that class and felt like she was in my living room. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, I have a last question for you. So we've just found out that you're on the board. We haven't even announced it publicly. Nobody knows yet, right? We're just like the precipice of just like making this announcement. If you had one feeling, emotion, or thought that you wanted to put in a time capsule to remember and open it up in a year from now, just to remember like a feeling or a thought or something from just like right now, what would it be?
I think if I could sort of put this moment in a time capsule, I would want to remember that the beauty is in the process.
Mhm.
It's in the result as well, but the true beauty is in the process. And so enjoy the journey. It's I'm in the process of trying to finish a book, and it's very, very difficult, extremely difficult.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to remind myself that like the beauty is in the process. The beauty is in discovering new things. The beauty is in putting it all together. Just like with burlesque, there's beauty in creating the act, there's
Mhm.
beauty in picking out your theme, your colors, your costume, your hair, makeup. So the same way, just trust the journey, love the journey. That's what I would tell myself.
Awesome. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for spending time with me
Thank
and
you.
letting me ask you a bunch of amazing questions and then preparing this to send out with our big announcement that'll be coming out very shortly.
I am so excited and honored, and honestly a little just still in disbelief a little bit, but I think it'll be real when we start working together and once it's announced. And so I just can't wait. I think it's really, really exciting.
Thank you so much for the interview. And I'm looking forward to, seeing your work on the board and then, working with you. So
It's going to be fun. That's the
yeah.
that's the most important thing too, is that this is going to be like extremely fun. Can I cuss? I almost said extremely effing fun. It's going to be really effing fun.
I don't know what YouTube's current
We're always being
agreement is for
censored.
that.
We're always being
Yeah.
censored.
Yeah.
Censor
Anyways,
strippers.
ah, okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.